Hello, fellow geeks. Welcome tonight, or whenever you happen to be watching this later or listening to it. We are super excited to be joining you live. Uh, I feel like every time we go live, we're like, how do we do this again? How did we used to do this? So thank you for bearing with us through our little tech problems or hiccups. But we're excited to be here, specifically talking about Stolen Fate. Uh, as a whole, season 3, but also the whole show because it's all done now. 2.5 years, I think it was, of our
Yeah, it's
lives sunk
over.
into this project. So a lot to unpack. To give you all sort of the rundown, I've made a little outline for us tonight. So we're gonna start with a little bit of a game ranking some NPCs. Then we're just gonna run through a bunch of questions. So chat if you have questions or hot takes or anything you want us to talk about specifically. Throw them in chat, and we will keep an eye on that, and we'll answer them. And then toward the end, we will be talking about our future plans. Which I guess, Chase, I should have given you a heads up, but that's what we're going to talk about at the end. So hopefully
Cool.
you can explain a little bit of where we're headed next.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I can do that.
yeah, and that'll be our stream. So again, if you have questions that you want us to unpack, drop them in chat, and we will answer them along the way. But to start off, I thought we could do a little icebreaker. Um, we're all gonna describe Stolen Fate, the whole series, in one word. So tell me what word you would use to describe it and why. Also, for chat, I am just throwing these questions blindly at everyone. So you're getting pure unprepared answers here. You look like you have a word.
I know. I thought about just being like fate, but I won't. Um, I think that I am going to go with twisty. There were so many random, surprising twists and turns, whether that was characters making decisions that I was not expecting or Chase pulling a fast one over on us. We went a lot of directions before we ended where we were. And I think that's one I'd pick. Twisty.
I
That's a good
like
one.
it.
Chase, what about you?
Ooh, I was googling fun words that because I couldn't put it into a single word, but I found phantasmagoric,
And
kind of
what does
surreal,
that mean?
fever dreamy. It's
Okay.
a sequence of fast moving, fantastic images.
Say that again. Phantasmagoric.
Phantasmagoric.
All right. I'll allow it, even though you didn't know what that word existed
I
before
learned
now.
it though just for this, and it fits pretty good.
Okay,
It was kind of all over the place in a very fun way, I thought.
I agree. Izzy, what about you?
Oh, as the other answers were being said, I tried to think of a good answer. But the one thing that keeps coming to mind, and this is going to sound like a bad thing when I say it, but it's not that bad a thing. I was going to say a little overwhelming.
Hmm.
Um, it was interesting coming into the campaign at the start of season 3, trying to fit into this group that had already been playing for a while, with a level 18 character in a system I have never played. This is probably something that, like, for anybody who has been listening to the show, I don't know if we spelled this out or mentioned this really, but yeah, I came into this having never played Pathfinder Second Edition ever. I played First Edition for about 10 years. I have never played Second Edition. And so to jump in with an 18th level character who was also had like mythic stuff, that was Chase was fantastic and very supportive. Everybody was very supportive and helpful with like the mechanical stuff that I struggled to understand. But it was a very fun time. And I guess it really wasn't that overwhelming at the end. Let's just say whelming.
You were a real champion. You did
Yeah.
great. I thought it was overwhelming, and I've been playing it forever.
There's a lot of rules in Pathfinder, and especially I made the mistake of playing a spellcaster, which means like every
Yeah, you
turn it
did
came
not
down
take
to
the
like,
easy road.
what are you, what you know, lady doctor, what are you doing? And I'm just like, let me look at all of my options. Especially when I took the feat that was like all of your spells are signature spells and all that shit. So it was very fun. And thank you, Tori, for cutting out a lot of my my pausing to figure out my turn.
I I cut out a lot of stuff for all of you, including
Golf claps for
myself.
Tori editing.
Yeah, we should actually do a big praise to Tori for editing our
Ah,
chaos. So
shucks. Thank
thank
you.
you, Tori.
No, it's fun. It's a fun job. Katie, what's your word for the show?
Okay, I'm a smartass. Disintegrate.
I like it.
Yeah,
Show.
yeah.
That's a good one. Ryan in chat suggested flatulent.
No.
More okay. Katie has vetoed that. I'm sorry,
I-
Ryan.
already
That's out. That one is out.
out.
I do like roller coaster. That
yeah,
was
roller coaster is real answer. Yeah. I think I will add, this is such a good pile of words. I will just add, I think I will say heart-wrenching.
Oh yeah, you were put through it.
Yes, I was.
You were put through it.
We all were, but I do feel like this one was particularly emotionally taxing for me in a fun way. I had fun the whole time, but whew.
Chase really said, "So you want to play an angsty rogue?"
Let's see. Let's see about that.
Let's turn up the angst to 11.
Exactly. Yep. You want to have a tragic backstory? Okay. I'll show you tragic. Yeah. Yeah, I've learned my lesson, Chase, okay? You don't have to
You
have
think
to
you would
tell
have
me
learned it
twice.
from Constance, but there came Jack.
Yes, Constance learned through her choices, not her tragic backstory, though. Jack, I
That's
gave
fair.
you all the ingredients, and then you were like, excellent. Here we
The
go.
cake I can make with
Mhm.
this.
Mhm. Okay, we're going to play a little game. We actually played a sort of a version of this. I'm adapting the game, but I got the idea from Top Tier. When we played it at PAX Unplugged. Izzy, sadly you were not there, but it's okay. This game is super easy, and it's just making rank lists. So we are gonna. I've listed out 18 NPCs that I could remember that seemed significant or just kind of fun to remember, and I've broken them into 3 groups. So we're going to rank group 1 based on a category, and then group 2, and then group 3, so on and so forth. So I will give you the group and then the like how we're ranking them. Does that make sense? Everyone follow along? Okay. And chat, if you want to make your own rank lists of these NPCs, please. We would love to get your input as well. So here is group 1. Group 1 is Caden, Shadow / Mordecai, whatever you want to call him, Aurora, Jack's mom, who, as I was making this list, Chase, I realized she never had a name, or we never learned it at least. The Rabbit Prince, and Zolara. So there's our 6 characters. I will put these in where? I'll put these in the YouTube chat, maybe?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So there's group 1. And here's the prompt. Whom would you trust the most? So this is going to go from most to least, I guess. Whom would you trust most to watch your pet for the weekend?
Oh my.
Who would you trust the most?
The most. Yeah,
To
most to
watch?
least. To watch your pet for the weekend. So,
Excellent.
yeah. And
Oh.
I think that I think we can kind of just start ranking them, thinking out loud if you want.
Okay. Aurora would eat your pet.
Yeah.
Would
So
she
that
be
has-
worse than
but-
Jack's mom, though?
I think Jack's
Oh.
mom's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. She would use it for some kind of
Spell
weird
components.
witchy thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm following. Okay, so Aurora is the F tier. No, sorry. Jack's mommy is F tier.
F tier.
I think
I think I might
Aurora
put,
and
like,
Jack's mom could be F tier.
Zalara
Yeah.
up
What is
up
Aurora
higher?
even gonna do? Aurora's gonna not even know what to do to take care of
Give him a hug.
a pet.
Yeah.
A
I think
snake
Zalara
hug?
would be the S tier. Zalara.
Definitely
Seems
the S tier. What a
very good.
lovely, delightful woman.
What about Shadow? He has a lot of nature-y
Shadow?
experience.
Okay. Maybe
like,
but
half
think
ranger-y.
about how many very deadly accidents Mordecai has on a regular basis.
That's
Mordecai
true.
proved
don't
to be a
give him
little
a-
clumsy.
Okay, so is Mordecai A tier then? Can we put A
Yeah.
tier?
Yeah, I
Sure.
would say so.
Zalara's
Yeah.
S tier, Mordecai's A tier. I mean, it's you're watching your pet for a weekend. Okay, it's not like he's going into battle here.
But Caden is
Caden is going to be
and,
drunk.
But
Whoa,
No.
Caden
And-
loves
and
his best
negligent.
boy. Nope, Caden has a puppy.
I would say
Mhm.
Caden's
Caden
B
loves
tier.
his best boy. No,
Caden is a god, and if your pet dies, you can just resurrect it at
S
the
tier.
end of the weekend.
Caden's
That is
S
a
tier.
great point. That
Caden's
is a
S
great
tier.
point.
But would he care to?
Yeah.
Caden is like
Yeah,
also
yeah.
kind of self-absorbed. Not entirely, but he
If
like
he was unself-absorbed enough to agree to watch your pet, then
Yeah.
he could probably keep it alive.
in my list, he's B tier.
S
Mordecai's
tier.
A tier and S tier is Zalara. I think that reflects how Jack maybe feels about Caden, though. He doesn't
Just-
entirely
Jack's
trust
like-
him to be fully
Caden's like mid.
responsible. Yeah. Yeah.
I can reluctantly agree with this pairing.
No.
Mhm.
You can have your own. Oh wait, where's the Rabbit Prince in all this? The Rabbit Prince, I think,
F
is
tier.
Low. F tier at
Tier.
least.
No,
Worse
I think
than
D. I think
Aurora
D.
and
I
Jack's
think
mom?
Rabbit Prince is a step above Aurora
But
and Jack's
what-
Yeah.
mom.
But if the rabbit prince appeared, like your pet could snap in half.
Okay,
Like-
D tier.
That's what I said.
Because
Yeah.
he's probably not going to do anything about it, but he won't actively try to kill it. So I guess that's D tier.
Oh, Sam here in the chat has a great point that Caden would take your pet on a wild adventure,
Yeah.
which
you would have
depending on the
enriching-
pet could be a positive or a negative.
Yeah, good
like
or bad.
like my dog would hate the adventure, but lots of pets would love the adventure. So
And if your pet died, you would probably at least get like weekend at Caden's and you would try to fake it or something.
That's a good thing? Are you
Weekend
counting this as a pro?
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
counting.
That seems worse to me.
It's
Caden being
selling
like,
me
"Look."
harder.
fine, I promise. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Not
Oh
to
yeah, I
mess up
taught
this
your
list
dog
any
how to
further.
talk.
Not to mess up this list any further, but Mordecai is constantly getting like kidnapped or lost or like forgetting
Yeah.
how to talk.
Well, not now. We took care of the problem. But no. Hey, but now Mordecai has Gingham watching over him, and therefore, and that's a pretty powerful.
A
person
herald
to
of
have.
Pharasma.
Yeah. To be pulling strings for you?
But that's not more powerful than Caden.
No,
Oh,
Well,
is Caden
no, I
higher
just-
than Mordecai?
no. I said Caden is
Okay.
B, but that has more to do with his negligence, not his power tier.
I never saw a single time that Caden was negligent.
He had Crunk kill everyone in his tavern, and he was just like,
I
well,
was like, whoa, that
shoot."
was unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust his judgment.
Okay. Well, never mind. Never mind.
all right. We can
Oh,
lock
oh,
it
oh.
in.
Okay,
Learning a lot about all of you.
good. That was the point. Okay, you guys ready for the second group?
I am prepared.
Hit me.
All right. I will put it in.
Also, the MVP
chat.
comment was, "My dog went from pupper to puppet." Thanks, Caden.
That's a good one. I like that.
Thanks, Caden.
Thanks, Caden.
That's awesome. Okay,
Thanks.
here is group 2. Sorry, Chase. I realize I don't know how to spell all their names, so sorry.
It's
for
okay.
the-
You got most of them kind of right.
kind of right. Great.
Oh,
Okay,
what a
we've got
strange
Willem.
list.
Willem, Desna, Victoria, the Mountain Man, Bernadette, and Birch.
I feel like
Um,
the mountain man definitely had a name. I just don't remember what it was.
No, he was always the Mountain Man because he was a card. or a Haro
Oh, I'm thinking of a
kid,
different mountain
or-
man. Never mind.
You're thinking of the sock portal guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the sock
yeah,
portal
the
guy.
sock
That
portal
was
man,
that's who I thought was the mountain man.
the
But
herald.
Why can't I recall who the sock portal guy is?
Because
you
you
weren't
weren't
in
on
that
that
episode.
adventure,
Oh,
That
I
was-
like,
that
he's
was
why does
Katie and I.
everyone
He's the
know
Herald
who
of
sock
Caden.
portal man is?
right?
Yeah.
clearly
the
you didn't
herald
watch
of
our
Caden.
episodes.
I didn't. I am a terrible friend. I'm so sorry.
And I edit all of them, so I did see that one.
Well, that makes
But-
you a better friend. So if we're
So am I
tiering friends
A
right
tier
now,
to
you're
him?
S tier. And
Izzy, to fill you in, the Mountain Man was one of the cards in Haro Court, and Krunk became very good friends with him because his whole thing was you could bring a trophy of something you killed, and he would give you loot or money or just tell you how cool you are, basically. So
Mm.
he and Krunk were good. Actually, honestly, he reminded me a lot of the Yeti in Monsters Inc.
mm-hmm.
I think that's like a decent character reference if you just need like a personality reference. And then Bernadidi, you didn't really meet him extensively, but he was a Rakshasa. He was the one we fed Edrin's body to, if you remember that.
a murderous alligator man.
Yeah. Whom we struck a deal with. He probably can't be trusted, but
He was a bit cheeky.
yeah. So
Bit
that's who we've got on our
cheeky.
list. You could say that. Okay, here is the category.
Okay, thank you.
Who would you want on your team in a crisis at 2 a.m.?
Birch.
Birch, yeah.
I'm kidding.
I mean, Desna's S tier, right?
S
Yeah,
tier for
well, yeah,
sure.
obviously.
Like, let's
S
get
Lady
that one
Luck
out of
has
there.
to be on your side.
I would argue the Mountain Man's probably S tier as well.
I
I
Why?
forgot we could put people in the
Big
same
and
tier
burly.
multiple times.
Yeah.
I think that is a ridiculous notion, Katie. S
Okay.
tier for the Mountain Man.
Wow.
The Mountain Man doesn't care about you. He's gonna be like, "You have a monster head? No," and he's gonna shut the door on you.
Okay. Well, then hear me out. Then I would put Willem as S tier because
I-
bitch knows his shit.
I would
Yeah.
agree. I would
Yeah.
put Willem as S tier as well.
Okay.
Although
Yeah.
although I would be worried if in the middle of the crisis Willem decided to stab me in the back. So it's
Yeah,
like
betrayal is kind of an issue.
it's
I
kind of
I
his
mean,
thing.
That
don't
was
think
just
so.
once.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
was a
think that-
pretty big once.
But it wasn't because he was like, you know what? I want to betray these guys. Instead, it was like, you know what? I think that I have a way to fix the entire world. It's not
Hold
just
on, hold
betraying
on,
people for kicks
hold
and
on.
gigs.
If we weren't like recording this, I don't think I would believe it watching it back. Are you empathizing with Willem?
No,
you,
I'm just
like,
saying that we should
defending his
recognize the
morality?
goals. The goals.
See,
of
I thought that was
character.
my thing.
Yeah, what is happening right now? Have you finally
I'm
gotten
not playing
Krunk fully
Krunk.
out
I'm
of
not
your
I'm
system?
not methoding right now.
I guess not.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
No.
Yeah, I think Willem is probably S tier,
I think I would. Yeah, I would.
assuming
want Willem
he's
my
on
side in a
board with
crisis.
with the whole thing.
I'm assuming that the other person is also in a crisis at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we're in a crisis together.
Yeah.
Sure, it's your team. And there's a crisis at 2 a.m. Who do you want on your team helping you?
I think Bernadidi is A tier.
Whoa. What?
He's
Okay,
really
you
that
and
powerful.
Katie have both made outrageous claims.
let me try and sway you onto my side, Chase. If we're in a crisis, sometimes somebody who knows, like, who's very comfortable with crime is a good person to have on your side.
No,
No?
disagree. You
what's
don't
the
want a
crisis, I
criminal in a
guess?
crisis.
Well, that's
Also, I
Well,
have
it
to
depends.
elaborate on Katie's.
Does
Katie, you said the Mountain Man was S tier. I have one question to convince me. If you're in a crisis and you know this like just really burly guy that works at like Cabela's, do you go to him first thing for your crisis support?
Yeah, because then he's not afraid to like murk shit.
it depends on what the crisis is?
for Cabela's?
I don't know why you pulled out a 2009 reference, but you know.
Man, Katie's got a lot of faith in
I-
her shopkeepers. I respect
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey,
I
they
think-
might have any. You know what? It's fine.
I'm gonna say
I-
Birch is A tier. Birch is
I
not that
disagree.
powerful,
I think
but
Birch is a D tier.
Whoa!
wow.
What is happening?
Wow.
Who are you all?
Do some
Okay, I
think
shakeups.
It's not that Birch isn't sweet and the best. It's just that Birch can't really do anything because Birch isn't my familiar. I can't even talk to the little squibbly guy.
See, I would put Birch at C tier because I think that he provides some nice support, but I do agree with you. He can't do much.
Okay, hold on. He was skilled with manual dexterity. He could pick locks. We just never did anything like that. We weren't roguing around. We were blasting through
I
doors
feel
and
like I have
exploding
to.
people.
I have to defend. I have to defend my fellow raccoons' honors here. Of like, there's a he can get into tight spaces. He
Yeah.
can pick locks.
He is
can steal
useful
stuff.
in
It depends
other
on what the
ways.
crisis is. Is the crisis I locked myself out of my house? You want Birch. Is the
Mhm.
crisis some big guy wants to punch me in the face? You want the Mountain Man. It really depends on what the crisis is. I feel like this question is too general.
So
Chat,
I would
can you
say
give us a crisis, please?
I
Apparently
would
we're gonna argue
say
forever.
that if they have very situational skills, that puts them in like C tier.
That's
What
fair
else?
enough. Yeah.
Because like Willem is gonna be able to fix most problems, as will Desna. Whereas Birch and the Mountain Man can fix some problems, but very situational problems.
I agree with that.
But I also feel that Tori's argument, I need to circle back to this, that Tori's argument is that Birch has opposable thumbs, and that's why he's good in a crisis.
No,
Do
that
we not
was
all
not
have
my
opposable
argument.
thumbs?
He's
That
got
was
small
not my
opposable
argument.
thumbs.
I said that he specifically had the feature manual dexterity, which gave him access to
That's
thievery
these.
and
That's these.
those skills. Yeah, okay, Katie,
So
go
Birch
pick a lock
can
for
use-
me, please.
Okay, I
Good
will.
luck, Katie.
Go disarm a trap, Katie.
Hey, fine, I'll be
Bernadetti's
back.
situational crisis is that he might stab you in the back or might not. And I just don't know if that's very good, Em.
Okay, let's put him on C.
I would say D.
D. I would say D.
D is
for
not an
Bernadette.
option. It's S, A, C, and F for some reason.
The only
I
crisis
just was-
that
we don't
Bernadetti
have
solved
to
was
use those
eating your
letters.
former nemesis when you threw him through a portal.
That's a crisis, and he fulfilled it.
True
And that was
situation.
indiscriminate. That wasn't a favor.
We're like,
You
hey,
go.
eat that guy.
Okay.
What about Victoria? I'd say she's like B.
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 She's
Useful.
She's very useful, but also she was very easily manipulated, and that
I was gonna
sounds-
say, what if the
dicey.
crisis is like the bad guys are like, oh no, but if you come over here, we'll do a better job. Then Victoria is clearly F tier because she just defect based on empty
Okay,
words.
but we can't use that same. If we're not going to hold Willem to the betrayal
Yeah.
thing, we can't hold Victoria to the same.
That's a
thing.
good point.
That's not betrayal. That's easily swayed. It's different.
Yeah,
Victoria
Willem
did
was
betray
not
us.
swayed. He did that all on his own with very solid reasons.
He just persuaded himself, Chase. That's actually what happened. So he was easily persuaded by his own brain, which
Oh, okay.
color me shocked. Willem thinks he's right. You know what? That might be the one drawback to having Willem on your team is he's gonna propose the plan, and if you have any other idea, it's not gonna be the correct one.
I'm okay with it. He's so powerful that I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I trust you to get us out of this crisis. I
All
don't even
right.
have to think. I'll just walk behind you.
Well,
Mhm.
in my personal list, Birch is still A tier, but
Well,
you guys
That's
can
okay.
think whatever
I
you
love
want.
that. for you.
all of us are wrong sometimes, Tori.
Yeah, Katie was gonna put Mountain Man S tier. What was that about?
Stop. Hey, now you're deflecting. Next question.
Okay, group 3. I'm dropping it in chat. Group 3. Norgerber.
Sam said, I have opposable thumbs and I suck in
I
a
suck in it."
crisis.
Group 3 is Norgerber, Nethys, the Prince of Wolves, the Fates, the Stitcher, and Guy.
What a list.
Okay.
We're gonna treat the Fates as one entity here because
Sure.
they basically are.
Sure.
So
I'm so excited
Mhm.
they
for the
come as a
question.
set. Okay, here's the prompt. Who would ruin the group chat the fastest?
Norgaber.
Norgaber.
No, wait. Norgerber wouldn't even say anything.
Yeah,
he'd-
Norgerber would ghost the chat.
Yeah, exactly. He would.
Are
He
you
would just
kidding?
That doesn't
He would-
ruin. There are plenty of lurkers in group chats.
No, you make a group chat. He immediately leaves the group chat, which sets the entire group chat off on a bad vibe.
Right.
Okay,
There's
I
either
The Stitcher's in this list, guys.
Yeah, the Stitcher is gonna drop some gnarly image that you never wanted to see.
No, it's gonna be
It's
dope.
gonna be
No.
burned in your head for the rest of your life.
Sorry, and that's okay with me. So I don't think Stitcher is going to immediately ruin the group chat. What Norgaber is going to do is he's going to get added into the group chat. He's going to watch the entire group chat. He's going to come in with that one thing, and then he's going to bounce from the chat.
I think that's kind of I think that's kind of a good feature to have.
Yeah, you
I
kind
think
of
need
swayed me on
someone
that one,
like that.
Katie.
You had a look of revelation on your face.
So in one of the discords that I'm in, I have a friend who will constantly change their name, like their nickname and their profile picture to be other people in the Discord just to confuse everyone. And that's a straight up guy move.
Oh, straight up a guy.
Oh
move,
my
yeah.
gosh, that's so true.
That would cause so much chaos in the group chat.
Guy would also have the really difficult humor where you wouldn't be able to tell if he's joking or not.
Yes, it would be
Everything he says, you would be like,
read.
is he serious?
It would
Are
be
we
really hard
supposed
to read Guy over text.
Yes.
Yes.
Guy,
No,
you know what? Guy would ruin it first.
I think Guy is S tier for ruining
Yes.
the
For
group
ruining
chat.
the group chat. I think the fates would be really difficult though, because they would only text in one word chains.
Yeah, it
at a
would be.
time. But they have a lot to say, so it would just be like
Your
one
phone's just blowing
message
up
at a time. Yeah, that would be pretty rough, actually.
I feel like
Yeah, I'd put
Nethys
them
would be
at A tier.
actually and be fact checking everyone all the time.
Yeah.
This is a really shitty group to group chat.
I don't want a group chat.
I don't want to be in this group chat.
Yeah.
Actually, I have an answer. I would ruin the group chat the fastest, and then I would bounce.
Because he would leave.
I'm
Yes,
like, I'm
yeah,
out.
Get out of
here.
there.
Get out of this. Yeah, blocking all of you.
I think for me, the Stitcher would be the worst because I think he would say something really gross. He would drop a really gross image.
would
He
he
would
say?
say, "Look at this beautiful creation I made this morning," and then he wouldn't put any sort of like filter, spoiler, or anything on it. It would just be right there. I would open it. I'd be in the middle of the workday. It would be completely shocking.
Yeah.
And I
Just
would
send
never
you a
be able to
picture of a
forget it.
leg lamp that's made with an actual leg.
Yeah.
I know he's like, your blood looks better on the outside than the inside.
And I would personally be flattered. All right.
Well, Katie,
Well, I'm
you
happy
might need to
for
see a
you.
doctor about that.
The Prince of Fools might actually be pretty chill.
Yeah,
Maybe like a little
Okay.
aggressive, but
he's a living legend.
So
Yeah, it
says
might
he.
be a little
Stories, maybe.
egotistical.
Yeah.
Mhm. He'd be that,
that
guy.
seems like the least of our
who-
concerns in this group, though.
It's true, but he'd be that guy that makes every conversation about him, and then he's always like, you tell a story about something great that happened, and he's like, well, I had this happen instead, or did you hear about the time that I did this great thing?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
He could
fair.
be A tier. I don't know about S tier.
I think the only really unimposing ones are Norgerber and Nethys. I think the rest would all be very imposing on a group chat.
I agree. Can I add one other flavor to what I think the fates would be like in a group chat?
Yeah.
I think that they would be all alternating words, like one word posts at a time, and they would have like italics, bold, underlined. Like there'd be something unique about each word that they're sending. And that would just be absolutely obnoxious.
Can I add
Sometimes
something
demon
for
tech.
Guy?
Yes.
I think Guy would also use the most unhinged, nonsensical emojis. He would not be able to
Just
understand
get, like a
what-
block of emoji chain, and you're just like,
Yeah, and he would react to other people's messages with like emojis, but they would be just completely nonsensical. Be like,
My
I have no
cat
idea how
died.
to interpret that.
my cat died today, and then he responds with
And
like
plant
the
emoji.
flying money. Oh, I was gonna say the flying money
Flying
emoji.
money, just something like,
Flying money is so good.
yeah. Well, I don't want to be in this group chat either, so at least we're agreed on that front.
/ unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe, block group.
Ryan said that the Fates reply with, "I knew you were going to say that to every single message."
Oh, God. Oh man.
Okay,
Right.
we get it. Thanks a lot. Okay, bonus question. This is just for this whole list of all the NPCs we've talked about so far. Or you're also welcome to pitch your own. Who is the most smoochable NPC of Stolen Fate?
Ooh.
This is
This is just any of them?
obviously-
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
obviously the
there's
Stitcher,
the
but
list.
okay.
Oh my
Katie,
gosh.
no, let it go.
Oh,
I'm still not
man.
over the Stitcher. In case.
Jack's
That's
bad.
cursed. That's straight up cursed. Smooch.
I said that to somebody at work today, and I laughed for like 2 minutes straight. Flex eyes, peace sign.
That's cursed.
Oh, man.
All right, who's smoochable?
Jack's dad.
Agreed.
Rupert Grimm?
Rupert Grimm.
It's the only
Um,
NPC name that I remembered, so I just I hammered that in as often as possible.
I have to say,
We just listed like 30.
I'm really touched by the fact that you remembered Jack's dad's name.
It was important. I was
It
like,
was
Crunk would remember this. I wrote it down actually to get like the muscle memory.
Oh,
Okay,
very
fine,
sweet.
Smoochable.
Also
Smoochable.
Zalara.
Smoochable.
Victoria's pretty smoochable.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
remember
Oh,
I vividly remember when we first saw Victoria and Chase first pulled the image up on the screen, and my first thought was, she can get it. Like, okay.
Pops up wood.
Dibs is what I think I
I
said.
mean, I have more complicated feelings about her now, but that was my first impression of her. So,
This is only because I know who Willem's character model is, but Willem is very smoochable.
Willem, yeah.
Willem's very smoochable.
he just opens his mouth and really ruins it.
yeah,
though.
but
That's
Just
why
gotta
you
stop
smooch
that
him
from
before he
happening.
starts talking. Yeah,
Silence.
exactly. You smooch him before he
silence
starts
spell.
talking.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Desna, hello. Desna is smoochable.
Desna's pretty dang smoochable.
Yeah,
That's
Kaden.
disrespectful.
I don't care.
Ah.
Caden's also smoochable.
he meant it respectfully.
Oh,
Respectfully,
I
Desmond
bet
is
if you
extremely
see
smoochable.
Norgaber's face, I bet he's super hot.
You know, I get that.
Or he's
sense.
super ugly, and that's why he always hides his face. Did you
Hey,
think about that?
He is
Chase?
the shadow
I did,
daddy.
and I think that he's super hot.
Okay. I think I might say Mordecai because I mean when we had the little Hero Forge token of him, but I do remember when Chase first described him, I was like, okay. Like he did have a weird beginning, you know, no mouth and all that stuff. So fully evolved Mordecai, I think, is what I'm gonna pick.
Early beginnings, Mordecai.
Might be tough because he didn't have a mouth, but
Yeah.
what was the name of the lady in the Arrowed Realms? The one I wanted to save.
It's Sarah's. It's
Nope.
like
it's
right
not
there.
Saren Ray, but that's now in my brain.
Same. It's really close to it. I'm looking it up.
Chase will
Keep
Chase will
talking.
find it.
Buy some
You
time.
want to smooch her? She was like evil and kind of undead and weird.
So
Was she?
I guess when she ate the fruit, she looked kind of normal again.
I just remember
but-
being very much like, "Come here, baby girl. I take care of you." Also, the person that keeps coming to my mind that I don't really want to smooch, but like still keeps coming to my brain is, what was his name? Yasilkit, the Star Boy from.
Yes.
I don't
Why?
want to, but it just
Okay.
I can't get it out of my head, so I had to say it out
Silkit?
loud.
Are you pitching you Silkit as a smoochable?
Did I get the name
NPC?
right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, seems like it was meant to be.
Okay, that's M's pick officially going on the
No!
record.
done. It's done.
Let's see if I can find a link to
Sonoray.
Sonoray. Sonoray.
Wow, I was pretty close. What did I say, Saren Ray?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a god.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was not that. That's Sonoray.
Also smoochable. Side note.
Yeah. You know, a shocking lack of romance in this campaign, Chase. That's my only feedback for you. Not many people to flirt with. Wait a minute. Hold on. The succubus we fought probably is the most smoochable.
Yeah.
that babe was
NPC.
fine.
You literally couldn't not smooch her almost repeatedly. So
Yeah. That's danger.
And then she took damage when Jack told her no.
Yeah, rejection. Take
Mhm.
that.
Rejection.
She's
can
like,
hurt
that
sometimes.
hurt my feelings. Ka-chow.
You know what a smooch means? No one's
Okay.
ever said that before. All right. There's our tier list, guys. We're gonna jump into questions now.
That was fun. Good game, Tori.
I thought we would have some good arguments over that.
GG.
Okay,
I
chat,
wanna
if you
say-
have questions about the show, now's the time. Feel free to start
Ryan
dropping
had one at
them
the
in
very
there.
beginning.
Have you ever considered doing a watch along commentary type thing? That question?
Yes.
Yes. Ryan, we have in fact done those in the past. It's been a long time since we've done one, but we did it a couple times. But I think we
They're
would,
back in season 2.
yeah, it's been quite a while. But if there was interest for that, then I think we'd probably be up for it again. Although canonically M hates watching herself. So
I really struggle. It's ooh.
I'm with you on that, Em. I struggle with it. Like, there were a couple of times I tried to look up like clips, and I just was like, "Yeah, I can't do this."
Oh,
I think
that
I have
is
been
really
immunized
challenging.
against that because I am forced to see it over and over again.
Actually, I
But-
think editing is what got me over it too. Because I used to be the same way, and then I did.
Well,
editing
sounds
for a
like
bit.
M needs to become our new editor.
No, I don't
And
like perceiving
Get over
myself.
it.
I don't think that's the fix for everyone because I still hate myself and I edit.
Katie, we can't fix all
can't-
of your
we-
problems.
We can't fix
okay?
your self-loathing. That's
Yeah.
like. Have you tried therapy? No.
I still hate myself.
I still hate myself. Watching myself. Sorry.
Words are important.
Nah.
But we will take it under consideration, Brian, maybe for some future series.
I do like the idea of MST3K, so we're actually just shit wrecking ourselves the entire time we're watching.
I don't understand these letters and numbers that you're speaking. Can somebody
Mystery
explain?
Science Theater 3000. Do you remember those really old movies with the guy with his robots? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is when you say it. I just didn't recognize the acronym.
Get good.
Wow.
I can't.
Okay, well.
Chase is like, I've literally tried. It didn't work.
It's as good as it gets. All right.
Okay, let's jump into some questions. I have way more questions. I just brainstormed a whole bunch of questions. We're not going to get to all of them. That's fine. So I'm just going to kind of hop around and again, chat, drop questions in if you got them or comments or anything like that. We are going to start off with just talking about each of our characters. I think it's always fun to talk about just favorite moments from each character. And then I thought it might be nice, since we are all done with this show in totality, to maybe think about what you will miss the most about playing your character. And Katie, if you want to think about that for Rue or Gingham or both, then you are allowed to do so.
I'm allowed. Bless.
You are allowed. Chase, I'm going to put you on the spot first.
Okay.
I know since we're all going to be thinking then about our favorite character moments and whatnot. So what do you think you will miss most about running this campaign? And why is it combat?
And why is it combat?
And why is it high level Pathfinder combat rules?
That I certainly won't miss. No, I don't know. I don't mean this in a negative sense, but I don't think that there is too much I will miss because the story now feels complete in my brain. And I like when a story feels complete. But something that I enjoyed from this campaign that I'm probably not going to do in the near future is this campaign had a really easy way to kind of genre hop around, and it had a lot of ways to throw in really weird chaos and have it just make sense. And also it had a really easy plot armor card of fate. Just
Why?
nice.
Fate.
It was destined to happen.
Yeah, you could just sit back and literally anything we did, you could just be like, haha,
Mhm.
I knew we were going to do that.
I knew it all along, and this was how it was meant to be.
Stupid fates. Okay, I have.
I will miss playing Guy as well, I guess. Guy was a fun character. I had fun with him as an NPC.
Is he going to be our universe hopping recurring NPC who just randomly shows up
That would
in
be
other
kind of funny.
places?
Chase will just bust out only the voice and we'll just overreact.
Well,
Yeah.
no, what are they doing
Guy?
here? Get out of here.
Hey, bosses. No!
No, not this again. I'm not your boss. Yeah. Okay. I did so I thought of favorite moments for all of you, and then I realized I didn't answer my own question. I didn't think of a favorite Jack moment, so I have not fully answered the question. Oh, Em, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I have a few favorite Jack moments and one just sprang to mind, but this is you answering about yourself. Ignore me and my reaction.
Though I do want to hear your favorite everybody else moments
Okay,
too.
well,
But
I will
after
say,
you.
I will think about favorite Jack moments after, but I will share my favorite Crunk moment, and these are just the ones that leaped immediately to mind. If I thought about this for like an hour, I might come up with different answers, but here's what I have thought of so far. Actually, favorite Rue moment was when Rue was like drunk at like 8 a.m. or whatever time we said it was, because she like stayed up all night, and then we were actively going into a meeting with the gods, and she was drunk, and then Lady Nocturne fixed that problem. But that was my favorite Rue moment.
Disrespectful.
Sort of a tie for Lady Nocturne favorite moment as well. But Lady Nocturne, my favorite moment was when she turned the I loved all of your spell riposts. They were always so cool. But I especially loved the Quandary spell ripost on that one disgusting orc dude, because that was just such a perfect way to end that particular fight.
That whole fight was just done.
Yeah, him quandering himself was too perfect. So yeah, I loved any time Lady Nocturne got a successful spell ripost off, though. And then, man, favorite Crunk moment. There's so many Crunk moments that I liked a lot. I think that one of my favorites, this is all the way back from season 2, so it's not that you had really great moments in season 3 as well, but one that came to mind was when we were in that stupid fight with the huge construct, and Gingham and Jack were stuck in the elevator like the entire fight, and the construct landed this huge crit on Jack, and Crunk put his shield and everything in front of Jack and like took the permanent blindness, which I didn't know when you did that Crunk had a way to cure that, but like that would have been a huge problem for Jack to be permanently blind. So I just remember visually how cool you described it, of Crunk just like basically cradling Jack and taking this huge hit, and Jack kind of like getting crunched by Crunk's spikes. So like he still got hurt, but didn't take the blinding flash and the huge crit. And I just thought that was so precious and very quintessential of Crunk.
I forgot about that moment until just now. I'm so glad you brought it back up. That was really cinematically cool in my mind as well.
Yeah. Those are my answers. I have to think a little longer about a favorite Jack moment.
One of my favorite Jack moments was actually from that fight too. I thought the shenanigans that Jack was going through, to be like throwing cards and poofing away to disappear, and you just were all over the battlefield trying to figure everything out, and that was just so much fun.
Thanks. It ended up being completely not helpful at all, though.
I know, it was so jacked.
That
You're,
was the sad
off
part.
looting the rocks in the bottom of the pit. Like,
I was
just
trying to
hang on,
find a
guys.
solution. I was not going for treasure. I thought that there was some kind of switch or something. But yeah, it was pointless. That's pretty quintessential Jack, though. I swear I'm helping. He's not actually. Any other favorite Rue or Lady Nocturne or Crunk moments yourself, Em?
For Lady Nocturne, I would have to say it's so hard to pick a favorite moment. I really liked the time when it was just a private conversation between Lady Nocturne and Rue, and she was like making an assessment of, okay, they're kind of scary. Like, I don't know. He's a problem. I was like pointed at Crunk. Was like, yeah, I think he's dumb enough to where he won't be too much of a problem. We just can't get hit by him. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I got a pretty high intelligence, but he doesn't really use his brain in that way. And I also really loved with Lady Nocturne at the end of the campaign. She's just like, you know what? I have a store to run, and that is equally important as to everything else I've ever done. And I was like, that's so iconic.
I really gotta get back to my store, guys. I know we just solved all of existence, but
Well, part of the thing is that there's a lot of things in that store that could threaten all of existence again.
Yeah.
So
She's
it's
just
like
there's a mirror. I was like, a mirror? A mirror?
just
You
another
don't
Tuesday
say.
for Lady Nocturne, saving the world.
And then, oh my gosh, I had a really good one for Rue, and it just slipped my brain. Hang on. Obviously, the carousing with Caden is iconic, but there's a particular moment. Come back to me, because I really want to remember this one.
Okay. Anyone else have any favorite moments they've landed on?
So I had two that came to mind for Lady Nocturne that were kind of my personal favorite moments with her. Although now suddenly one of them just slipped from my brain. One of the ones that I wanted to bring up though was a favorite moment of mine from Lady Nocturne was I tried going back and finding this conversation once. I think it was a conversation. It might have been with Jack, maybe. I can't remember if it was Jack or Crunk, where basically the question was posed about like, almost this frustration with the futility of all of it, and whether this struggle with good and evil, and how evil's always going to come back. So why do we even go through it? And so that little monologue I did about entropy, that was one that I think strikes me as like a very Lady Nocturne moment. Was the sort of discuss like this turning it on its head and being like, it's not about good versus evil. It's about order versus entropy. It's about building something when the very nature of the universe wants to tear it apart. And then, I had another one that came to mind right away, and then suddenly I was too distracted to listen to everybody else talk. I will say for Rue, one thing that was a lot of fun, I really loved, was the way that Rue and Nocturne very quickly like established a rapport. Like even in our first episode together, it felt like we kind of were already establishing this sort of rapport of an almost familial bond. It felt like of like Rue treated Nocturne like an elder relative almost. And I thought that was a very fun sort of dynamic that we had throughout the campaign. And that was a fun thing to always play off of you there, Katie. I'm gonna see if I can remember the other big Lady Nocturne moment for me was a favorite moment, because it was something that I'd been planning it for about 2 sessions. But it's the Steel Soul on Willem at the very end.
That was cool.
Stole it. That was mine.
You
for
done
Lady
stole it.
Nocturne.
Stolen fate, stolen
Oh
soul.
no.
Stolen soul.
Stolen favorite moment. It all comes together.
Lots of theft.
I love, spoiler alert, Anyway, I love that Lady Nocturne straight up became a lich at the end.
I did like
using
that outcome.
using Willem's soul, but it wasn't. It was in a I'm learning from this, and so I'm gonna use Willem's soul to like do this. So it wasn't even like an evil way. And I like to spout nonsense about an accidental lich, and like Lady Nocturne's like the closest thing to accidental lich, right? Like she did it intentionally, but not because it's evil, because she
Mhm.
learned from Willem's hubris, basically. And I love that.
It just as we were sitting, as the session was going on, as we were having all these discussions, it was just turning in the back of my mind, and I'm like, yeah, this has to be her end game. And then that led to one of my favorite moments with Krunk at the very end was, and this is partially a Krunk moment, but also just an M moment of M being like, all right, I want to do a scene 100 years in the future. That was so funny to me. I love that.
That was great.
Ah. It was so loud all of a sudden. I was taken off guard. I
She
reacted
was
way
onto the
too
scene.
large.
I had too much Crunk energy. My bad.
You did.
Wah! I remembered my Rue moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came across well over the recording, but Rue adored the little creature at the Fates, the little spirit thing, and it was just like floppy hands, tries to talk. Oh, I'm not gonna talk to the thing. I'm gonna let Jack talk to the thing. And I thought that it was such a different side of Rue that just like kind of flashed in and then disappeared.
Adorable
again.
creature.
It's like adorable creature. It's a cute little thing. I don't know. I thought that was really cute. And then also the fact that she could just like walk into any fight and be like, I'm impervious to everything.
Yep.
Hit me
Oh,
there.
fire? Okay.
That's cute.
Oh,
I
that's
thought
cute.
actually I loved in the final fight when Chase like did something. I don't remember. Willem did some reversal, and Chase was like, "Okay, Rue, you crit yourself," and Rue had done a fire attack, so Rue was just like, "Okay,
Sweet. That's cool.
Doesn't matter to me." I thought that was really cool. The Uno reverse, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
The old 0 times 2 equals 0.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do have a Jack moment as well I want to share real quick, and then Soul's gonna pick up. I think one of my favorite Jack moments was that conversation with his father when he finally was able to step into that realm and speak to him face to face. Like that was really cool.
To me, that felt like the end of Jack's story in like a good way. Like obviously there was still stuff we needed to take care of, but
Mm-hmm.
I hit that moment and I was like, all right, Jack has reached the end of his journey. I really loved that moment. I really I don't know that this like was I think of two Jack moments. One, I just thought I liked this moment because I think it was just extremely Jack, but and also extremely Tori. It just really was like a peak typical moment for both of us when I sidetracked the whole session to scry Victoria and figure out where she was. And then Jack woke everyone up in the middle of the night to figure out the location because he didn't recognize where it was. And then that ended up like working and giving us more information than Willem intended. And Chase had to bring Willem in to like come shut that nonsense down. But I just, yeah, I knew as soon as I started that like, Chase, I wanted to do a thing real quick. I was like, this is not going to be a quick thing. And I'm going to derail. I'm about to derail everything that Chase had planned, but I'm going to go for it anyway. And then, yeah. And then Jack like calling Krunk in the middle of the night, Krunk, get down here and bring Lady Nocturne. And everyone's like in their PJs, like,
Lady
what's
Nocturne's
happening?
literally a kitty cat.
Literally
Yeah.
a cat. Yeah.
Yeah, so that did lead to one of my favorite Krunk moments, but also a little bit of behind the scenes, I guess, for the viewers and listeners here is So I had been discussing with Chase. So when I created the character, I had the cursed background, which had some sort of family curse that that at first we hadn't defined. And so at some point I came up with the idea of the turning into a cat once a month. So I messaged Chase about it. We talked about it a little bit in the background. And so as that scene's going on and Jack is scrying, I'm messaging Chase being like, do you want me to be a cat right now? And Chase is like, let's do it. And so Crunk comes in, and that's when I had Lady Nocturne be a cat. And then of course that Crunk Jack moment of Lady Nocturne's a cat. Yeah, I know. Just
yeah, I know.
just classic.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
That was really good. Katie, Chase, any moments you'd like to add to the pile?
None.
You guys
whatsoever.
covered
No.
most of them, but a couple I will mention that I really liked is I really like when Jack killed his mom.
Mhm.
I thought that was a super cool epic moment.
Funny sentence.
That's good. That makes me feel good because I was like stewing about that session. Well, for a lot of reasons, because it was so dramatic and I had a lot to unpack. But I was so like thrown off in that moment. I was just like, so much had happened and my brain was like no longer processing. And then there was this like big moment, everything Jack had been like working toward, and then I did it. And yeah, for like weeks after, I was like, was that really lame? Like, should I have made that a bigger thing? I feel like I could have done that cooler. So I'm glad to hear that you thought it was cool.
I thought it was super cool and cinematic. I really liked the whole Karanok episode. And I liked all the really, really sad role play that you did, Em. So much
boy.
emotion. That was a good one. I really liked Rue's first episode when she was flying around on Lady Nocturne's back as a dragon and like just tackling all the elements. I thought that was super epic. And then I liked when Lady Nocturne made Infinite Fireball. Time stop.
Yes, the time stop into the delayed blast fireball was so cool. Yeah. That would also be like just an insane thing to behold. Yeah.
It'd be so
Yeah,
disorienting.
suddenly.
Yes, suddenly. Lady Nocturne's like
Fire.
500 feet away. Now she's here, and Willem is exploding.
And there's a mushroom
in
cloud.
fire.
There's a nuke going off. It's weird.
I thought of a couple favorite Crunk moments.
Go for it.
One was in the Karanok episode where Crunk had to like kill the little friend. That broke my heart. Wasn't that
Wait,
how
wait.
it
Oh, and
ended with the character you were playing?
With
With the big rock? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was really,
That was
I
really
was like,
sad.
ooh. I don't know if I've ever been so up in Crunk's feelings as in that moment. And then the other one, I think it was season 2. We hadn't yet failed a job to go get a card, and we were on the brink of failing. And Gingham went down, and so we like I shuffled Gingham's body through the door, and then Jack went down. And so Crunk was the only one there, and there were like all those rakshasas, I think,
They
everywhere.
were rocks, I think.
Rocks, they were
Yeah.
rocks. And so he rolled Jack's body through the door, and there was the opportunity for me to leave. But if I left, we were gonna lose the card. And so Crunk was like risking it and fought all of them and killed them. And I was just like, that's my boy! That's him right there! Crunkalicious beef baby. Y'all don't know, but that's what I normally have his name in.
I really like to follow the Crunk favorite stuff. Crunk's conversation with Desna, where she calls him like her little star, and that whole moment, that was really cool. Just having Crunk have this moment with his god and becoming that herald. I thought that was a really cool arc for Crunk to be something like he was turned into something else, but now he gets another something else that has this greater purpose to it. And then, oh, Jack, you're just the way that you are. You're just the way that you.
He tries his best.
He tries his best. I like Jack's, and I don't even remember when it was, but there was this time where Jack was like defiantly moody and he would not stop being that moody no matter like what anyone did. He was just like teenage pouty in a corner. Like Crunk
Yeah,
was
you're gonna
trying
have
to
to be more
rouse him.
specific. Jack has done that multiple
I
times.
know he has, and I'm trying to remember exactly when it was.
I think.
but
Are you talking
time?
about the beginning of season 2 when we were just in combat after combat after combat, and Gingham and Crunk kind of had to step up and become
yeah, that might have been
cooperative?
it, and become cooperative. Well, because Crunk was trying to like rouse Jack into like, hey, this like we got this, let's go, and Jack was just not having it.
Jack was in a very bad place.
Uh-huh.
That earlier that day, he found he was like tortured by his mom, and then his home was
Yeah.
exploding. It was a
And
lot.
It's fine. It's fine. It was fine, and no.
It
I don't know
did
why
turn
that-
out to be mostly fine.
Mhm. See?
What about Rue? What about a favorite Rue moment?
Oh,
Or
Rue doesn't exist. I don't know.
okay, Gingham, favorite Gingham
No,
moment. You had some really cool Gingham moments in season 3.
Season 3? At the very end. Oh, yeah, Gingham being a random fate puller and showing up and just doing things was fun. I like that. I think favorite Rue thing was Willem trying to pull the Uno reverse, and she's like, yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
Hot shower, thanks.
Thanks. Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, I did like watching Rue go after Willem, kind of take the nice gloves off.
Mm-hmm.
Because you also like pinned him with your
My wall of
1,000 needles or
yeah.
whatever.
I
that
really
thing was.
tried to, and he said no.
Well, he did get hit with a lot of damage. He just didn't get
Did.
pinned down because Willem things, chase nonsense. Typical chase nonsense.
Yeah.
Whoops.
One thing I loved.
Unmutes. Whoops.
So one thing that I really a fun Crunk thing was during the last couple battles, during that whole sort of like assault through the manor sort of sequence, just Crunk flying around the battlefield, like just like intercepting. I'm gonna intercept that attack. I'm gonna intercept that attack. I'm gonna just going everywhere, just like could not stay still.
I also loved how you always teed it up with just like, "Hey Chase, unbelievable interception." I'm sorry, excuse me. Hey Chase, unbelievable interception.
I don't know if you know about this. I got this cool ability.
Crunk comes flying 50 feet across the battlefield, actually.
I would be
It's funny
screaming.
that you said that, Izzy, about like going around and protecting everybody, because there was a moment in that final battle. I was telling Chase about this recently. I was like, I think that Crunk would have hung back and tried to protect everyone, but Lady Nocturne said, go fuck him up. And so Crunk went to go fuck Willem up. And it was such a defining moment for Crunk just to be able to unleash just pure assault. And I think that we might not have beat the race if Lady Nocturne hadn't had that foresight. So that was really cool.
No, definitely not.
Tag team moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, trying so hard to protect everybody, and the other thing too is I knew that of the people on that back line, my character was the most fragile by far. I'm pretty sure, but I had an ace up my sleeve that I didn't get the chance to use at any point in the campaign. But also, and I'm kind of glad I didn't need to end up using it because there were some moments in there where I did get pretty low. But Lady Nocturne was still like, even when kind of taking that beating, she still was standing by that thing of like Crunk needs to be out there, like focusing on Willem. If I die, so be it. I've lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't want Crunk to be hanging back to protect her when it would be more valuable for him to be on the offensive.
That segues really nicely, Izzy, into one of the questions I had kind of jotted down, which was, did you have either like a decision that you considered, or like a path you were considering taking, or some kind of like ace up your sleeve, like you talked about, Izzy, just something that you had considered and had in mind but didn't end up ever using, or was not a decision that you ended up making for whatever reason? Hopefully that question makes sense.
That's specifically at me, is that for everybody?
Just everybody, yeah.
Okay. I can
Anything
start
you
because I
kind of
have
thought
two
about.
I have two that came to
Okay.
mind just right off the bat. So one, a decision that I thought about but didn't make. There were a couple of moments where I was seriously wondering, especially after the time we had the conversation with Willem and heard his logic and his reasoning. There was a moment where I'm like, is the end game going to involve Lady Nocturne trying to use the deck to get rid of the gods? Like, that was something that I severely considered for a while. And it would have been like, what it would have been is if I thought that would be the logical thing or the thing that would fit her character, I would have reached out to Chase. But also, it just felt like it would be like kind of having the character step in and just like destroy everything you've been working towards. So it kind of just felt like it wasn't a good fit. So that's one of the reasons I didn't go for it.
Willem would have welcomed you with open arms.
Whoa. Yikes. That would be a
No.
team up that I would not want to reckon with. Willem,
Probably
I
would
feel
have
like,
lost.
but Willem and Lady Nocturne, I think that's GG.
GG. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would not be a satisfying end conclusion to the story. So that was another reason I was like,
The third
nope.
betrayal, Lady Nocturne also
Right?
turns on you.
The writer in me was like, no, it's not the way this ends. And then as far as the ace up the sleeve that I'm talking about, so Lady Nocturne had an ability that essentially would have let me, if I got really low and was close to dying, my plan was at some point to use this ability where I could have essentially exploded my body, turned it to pure mana, and then at any point in the future, and then a few turns later, reform myself at full health.
Wow.
Dude,
Okay.
So cool.
So
Right.
I never actually got
That's
a chance to
awesome.
use Arcane. I think it's called Arcane Explosion. I can't remember the name of the ability, but
That's so
it's
rad.
never got a chance to use it. I thought I was going to get to use it in the final battle. I didn't, and I'm okay with that. But it would have been really cool.
We had a good number of like, in case of emergency, pull this lever. we had quite a few, actually. I think we had a card that would get someone back up. I know Jack had a spell that was basically Dr. Frankenstein lightning strike to like revive someone from zero, or who had just died in the last turn. I also had my wish spell with attachments that I could have tapped into to reverse course on something. Yeah, I think that it was going to be tough for any of us to fully actually permanently die in that last fight, I think. Any other like plans or tricks up the sleeve that you guys never ended up using? Chase, this question is for you too. If you had any GM secret ideas or paths that we just didn't end up taking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear I was going to have the gods sacrifice themselves for you guys, but you guys were just too good. Didn't need it.
That's terrifying.
No thanks, gods.
I didn't
We're
think you
good.
guys were going to be able to outrace that fight. It was good.
Made some good hits.
You were methoding Willem too hard. Willem, who continually underestimated us.
I was like, this is impossible to beat.
Oh, wait.
Actually, no. I'm trying to think of any. Yeah. This is kind of a silly one. I just had it in. It's not really like a dramatic thing, but I had relearned, analyzed Willem's idiolect, which is a feat that I have to basically perfectly mimic someone, and and then I also have disguise spells that I can disguise myself as specific people. So I just had that in my pocket where I was like, I don't know if this will ever come up where I'll have to use this. But in the final fight, one of the ideas I had was if Aurora weren't looking at me, to maybe try and give her a command to just confuse her, and like perfectly mimic Willem's voice. But it never. There was too many other things that needed to happen.
So I dropped you a hint in season 2 that Willem talked about how he had trained familiars with his thesis to only respond to his voice, and he was talking about how you could do that with Birch as well. And I was waiting for you to do it because you wouldn't even have to have been looking at her.
Ah.
She would have just followed the command.
Well, there's one moment, Chase, where you probably weren't thinking about this, but there was I was actively looking for a chance in the final fight, and there is a turn where I ask you what it looks like Aurora is doing, and you're kind of like, oh, she's doing this, and then you kind of waffle, and you're like, she's looking at you, and I was like, dang it, if she's looking at me, I can't.
I remember that.
You know, like
Mhm.
mime over here. And that was the moment though. I was like, oh, if she's looking somewhere else, I'm going to give her a command. But she was looking right at Jack. And so I didn't feel like even Jack isn't that good of a liar. To be like, I'm not talking. Willem is.
That's so cool. I love that.
I don't know if this is like a big decision, but it was more of an arc that Crunk didn't actually end up taking. I had a lot, chat actually made me think of this. I had a lot of plot lines that I wanted to evolve between Crunk and Gingham's relationship. I thought there was a lot that Crunk could learn from Gingham. He was so against Gingham's weirdness, because he didn't really get why everyone was like, okay, we love this adorable little weirdo, but you're a big weirdo. We kind of hate that. You're kind of moist. I'm not about that life. And I thought there was the opportunity there. And Katie and I had a few conversations that never ended up being able to, Gingham died. There's no surprise there.
Whoa, spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah, and I think that was something that I wish I'd been able to work into the story without detracting too much. Was going through that growth anyways.
Well, I liked when they greeted each other back at Harrow Court after Gingham came back.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you doing here?
Ah,
I'm
hey.
happy, but also,
It's just the default response. I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
You make me uncomfortable.
Why are you here? Rue had a thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Rue was part Demonborn, which never really came up.
Well, you summoned a pocket of hell.
I did.
Or something.
I summoned my pocket of hell.
Did you say you're part unicorn?
Demon?
Well, yes, but no, that's not what she said.
Demon. I thought you said
Not.
unicorn for real.
She's also part unicorn. That's a
Okay.
whole other thing.
I was like,
No.
how did we never pull?
She has
Uni
one
in on
singular
that?
demon core. Demon.
Yeah,
core.
she
Lord.
prestidigitations it away every morning. I thought about trying to sow chaos, and because she's got an ability where she can make a deal with someone. It's like a deal with the devil, and I was going to try to make a deal with Willem in front of everybody, which could have later backfired. Like, it would have sowed doubt and chaos in everyone else, but it would have backfired later because Willem would have attacked us, and it would have hurt him. But it's just a thing that never happened.
Wow, all these alternate timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sounds like you're winning on all of them.
maybe we had plans upon plans upon plans.
There's
Jace.
some plans.
So, a question that Ryan dropped in chat. When I run a game, I learn something with every game. Chase, what did you learn about running a game from Stolen Fate?
Oh, so very much. Yeah. This one, I'm very happy with the outcome of this story, but this one was a little bit messy for me in my brain, and there's a lot of things I would have done differently. And I took a big self-evaluation, like like somewhere around like mid to end of season 2. And I think like there's a lot I learned from it, but if I had to narrow it down to like some key things that I think I improved on a lot, I think, and I've kind of, we've pretty much only been recording this game. We did like some Ryutama in the middle, and I think some of it already showed in Ryutama as well. But I have particularly tried to work on how to handle uh, setting up PCs for failure and going up against insurmountable odds, because I do think that that is a core part of a story. Frequently, I think it makes for good story to sometimes put them up against it. They shouldn't always just be defaulted to win and succeed. And so I've worked a lot on my balance with that and how to handle those situations. And then I've also learned a lot from this about integrating character backstories and timing with pulling those backstories along and intertwining those stories with other characters at the table, etc. So yeah, I think I learned a lot about those two concepts specifically. But yeah, I agree with you. Every time I run a game, I learn a lot, and it's hard to narrow it down into like just a couple things. But yeah, this one I feel like I learned a lot from, for sure.
Thank you for that answer. I really admired the story you put together, because there was a whole lot to keep track of and pull together. There were a lot of threads in this story.
It's a wild one.
Yeah, to keep untangled and moving along, and I thought you did admirably with all
Thank
of
you.
it.
This story did end up almost being completely homebrewed by the end of it. Like if anybody runs Stolen Fate going forward, it ain't going to be what you watched for sure. Just because I really like this story, and I think that the writers did a good job, but I think that the nature of the adventure path, I realized as we were playing through it, was a little bit too anthology chaos to make for like a good long form content. So I did a lot of changing to kind of thread it together. I skipped over a lot, and I just personalized it to fit the characters. And by the end, it was something very different, especially in book 3.
We should change the show name to Inspired by Stolen Fate.
Yeah, for real.
Kind of Stolen Fate.
Based
Stolen
on
Fate
Stolen
adjacent.
Fate.
Based on, yeah.
We did a movie adaptation. That's what happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's exactly
Chase, what's something
it.
we'd be really surprised at that was homebrewed?
Something that surprised Guy didn't exist.
I think
Guy
you
was a
told us that.
homebrew. Yeah.
Or I knew that for some reason.
The campaign had almost nothing to do with gods, so that was all homebrewed. I guess that
Okay.
one's probably
M's face is just
What do you mean?
the gods were pretty much not involved in this. It was all just the fates, and there was
So what
a
was the
big
Stolen Fate Accord?
the Stolen Fate Accord I made up.
He had to work the title in somehow.
Yeah. The big baddie of this one was somebody that you wouldn't have even known who they were until the final encounter. And so I replaced that with Willem, because I don't like that. It's something I've realized in Adventure Pass. I'm not a big fan of the big bad guy at the end being somebody that you just met. Like I feel like you gotta have stakes in it, and that's something I've learned from previous campaigns. We did another Adventure Path. It was a home game, not one that was recorded, but it was such a really good story. But the ending fight felt so anticlimactic, because we're like, oh, who's this person? And it was just like, it
Who
felt
are
a little
you?
anticlimactic. So I swapped Willem out with the actual end person and threw a little extra betrayal in there to make it personal.
I love hating the villain, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
One thing
I
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna talk about how much I love to hate villains like that. Oh, eek.
One thing that I try to do when I run campaigns is either, if I know ahead of time who the like the BBEG is going to be, I make sure that the party meets them in Act 1, and so they actually have a chance to interact. And then Or sometimes I choose a character in Act 1 who I think makes a good BBEG and just turn them into that. In the campaign I'm currently running right now that my partner and I are turning into a webcomic, we do that. I did that where we meet the BBEG in disguise, basically, in Act 1. And they get to learn more about her throughout the story. And I think that's something that's really cool. And then with Willem, even from like the first interaction that Lady Nocturne had with Willem, she's instantly just like has this opportunity to be like, yeah, I hate this guy. Like, he's right, but I hate him.
Nice. That's what I was going for.
He's right, but he's also the worst. Yeah.
It's like that Onion article, like, tragic, the worst person you know just made an excellent point.
I think it still surprised me. Like, it just was so unbelievable to me, Chase, that you would make your own OC a horrible bad guy. And that's like why the twist was so it was so good, because I just really did not see it coming at all, and it broke my heart.
Excellent. I planned it from the moment I introduced him, because I was like, it'd be fun to have a little character, because I think we've talked about this before, but Jack was a character that Tori played in a home game where I was playing in the game as well, and I was playing Willem in that same campaign. We played Abomination Vaults. And so I was like, I want to bring my character from Abomination Vaults in here. And in that campaign, I always had Willem griping about how the gods were bullshit and that they were just big beings that flaunted their divine power. And so I knew that I wanted to make the gods a bigger part of the fate, just because I think that one thing that the Paizo universe does really good, I think they do such a good job with the whole lore, with their religions and their gods. And I think that was more interesting than just having the fates in some random personal time. So I thought that throwing Willem in there would be a good fit, because it'd be a nice little Easter egg for Jack, and then you would feel inevitably betrayed by the end.
Fun little Easter egg. Super fun.
Correct.
Correct. I don't know. I don't even know if I can kind of think back to what I imagined when we first started, but for all the way back at the beginning, Katie and M, and even Chase, and then Izzy at the beginning of season 3, I'm curious where you all imagined this was gonna end, or sort of what was the ending that you imagined, and was that very different from where we ultimately landed?
I thought we were all gonna die because we didn't have a healer in the group. I was
That's
like, okay,
true.
well, I'm gonna
That's
try and
true.
make
You were
this
very
whole
worried about that.
3-person group without a healer. We're gonna not survive Pathfinder 2e combat. And then I just built a beefcake of a character with no goals except for keep everybody alive.
Wait, hold on. There was a goal. Chase said you can't do it, and so you did it.
Yeah, Crunk was a spite build.
Crunk was a straight up spite build, and I need the world to know that Crunk was a spite build. A magnificent, beautiful, beefy spite build.
Probably the strongest Pathfinder 2e character I've seen to date. Straight out of spite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I come in with, and I'm also not a healer. Like,
yeah,
it was great.
Bards in other settings or systems I've played, including Pathfinder First Edition, Bards are kind of able to be a half healer. And so that's why when I picked playing a Bard, I was like, oh yeah, I could probably be like a bit of a half healer. There's almost no healing spells that Bards get access to in Pathfinder 2e that I could find. So I like,
yeah, it's like soothe, and that's it.
It's like soothe, and then I did make good use of the like life pact spell in the final battle. I don't remember if that ever triggered or not, but it was there in case somebody needed it.
There was another in case of emergency, flip this switch. There were so many. We had so many backup safety net
I was like,
things.
guys, you have to survive a round. If I die, I'll come back. I promise.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't even know if I can remember what I imagined for the ending, like all the way back at the beginning. But I did I think actually maybe earlier in the campaign I did kind of expect there to maybe be a little more conflict with what we do with the deck. Um I think like in the end we were all very unified with like we ain't using this thing. Like this is bad news. We're gonna give it to Crunk. He's gonna keep it safe. We're all agreed on that. And I think as we were gathering the cards and we were learning just like a little bit more and more about just how powerful the deck was, the thought did cross my mind of like, oh my gosh, I wonder if we're gonna kind of come to a head where we're gonna have to be like, well, I want the deck. Well, no, I want the deck. Or like, no, I think we should do this with the deck. And that just ended up not really being an issue for us.
So this is actually something really cool about your character progression for all of you, I think, through this, is that I was especially mean in this campaign. Like, and I talk about the insurmountable odds because that was intentional. I mean, it was intentional, I think, the way the campaign was set up as it was, because I mean, the last book of the campaign is literally called The Worst of All Possibilities. So like everything's supposed to be going wrong, but I really turned that up as well because I wanted the deck to be something where I wanted all of you to have suffered something really rough so that the deck was tempting at the end. Like you all had something to turn back. But I think all of your characters kind of found their peace before you got your hands on the deck, more or less.
That's really cool.
It's cool. I liked the way that it went.
I don't think that Jack knows how much he saved Crunk.
Oh, no way. I don't even know that.
Oh, he was so lost and didn't have family, and Jack called him his brother, and just that was such a solace for him. And just being around Jack and then learning that Desna didn't lead him to Jack and that they kind of chose each other was so precious to his heart, and it healed something in him that he had lost a very, very long time ago. And I think that's actually why he ended up being okay living beyond Jack, is because he still had that peace in him.
Oh, that's so cute.
Cute tears.
That's precious.
Yeah.
I think for Lady Nocturne, one of the big reasons why she didn't feel a need to try and use the deck at the end. There are two parts of it. One is I feel like just in this experience of working so closely with the gods, she came to more understand their limitation and realize that, like, yeah, they're very powerful beings, but they really can't meddle as much as maybe she was worried that they could.
Mhm.
They seem to be very limited in how much they can actually influence things. And so she's kind of content. She also, by working so closely with them, began to see them as, in essence, people like they used to be. And when it came for them like wanting to offer themselves to sacrifice themselves, that was a sentence. When they offered to sacrifice themselves, I realized that in Lady Nocturne's viewpoint, that was like an unnecessary sacrifice, because she's like, in principle, like in theory, I dislike you. I dislike what you represent. I dislike how powerful you are. But in practice, I see you as a sentient and sapient being, and I don't want you to die. And so I think that for her, let her be at peace of like, after this is all over, the gods and me, we can go back to ignoring each other and coexist just fine. And so she no longer felt that Willem's approach was necessarily the right one anymore. And then the other reason why she didn't feel a need to fight for the deck was she already got her consolation prize, which was Willem and the cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's extremely fair.
Although Lady Nocturne did make a soft play to store the deck in her shop, and Jack was
That
like,
was a legitimate-
I don't think that's a good idea.
No, and like that was less of like a power play and more
no,
of like a
I
legitimate
didn't
like
take it that way.
like a legitimate like lady options. Like I keep a lot of dangerous things safe, so like
yeah,
that's one option. But yeah,
Jack's mind was like, I've heard this one before, and I think I'm gonna do it differently this time.
fair and valid.
Go be a lich
The voice.
without the deck.
And then I couldn't look at the mirror.
We dust,
Okay.
we do not look.
We do not look. That mirror sounded so cool and like
Right?
the whole other
You
beginning
see?
to a whole other adventure. You see
see?
the happier version of your life. Ugh, jeez Louise. Okay. So one thing about this whole campaign, I definitely feel like, at least for me personally, this was one of the most emotional campaigns I've ever played, and had some of the biggest character swings, like I guess taking the biggest character swings, the biggest character choices, and also dealing with some of the heaviest character emotions I've had to deal with. I say that with a smile because I did invite it and Jace sure delivered. But one thing I appreciate about our group is that like we do create I think a safe space for that kind of role playing with each other. And I'd love to know, just kind of from your perspectives, what you feel like that this group or this table did well to support each other during these heavy moments, or to kind of create that space and help people feel safe committing to big character choices or big moments and things like that. And sorry, this is a long question that's going on, but basically with a frame of how maybe people listening could potentially take that to their own groups, or just how you can kind of think about that in your own games elsewhere, how you can create that space. Hopefully that made sense. That was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
We-
coherent.
We fought one out though. Remember?
I would say we discussed it. It didn't come to blows or anything.
Well, no, it didn't come to blows, but it was definitely a conversation that we had.
We did
It
debate.
was-
We did have to discuss it. Yeah.
We did have to
This
discuss.
was when Jack sold the sword token
Yeah.
to Norgerber, which okay, hang on, really fast side note. I just have to know, Chase, was that shopkeeper actually Norgerber?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really glad I didn't try to steal from him then, because that would have been really bad.
Yeah.
I was so scared for you.
Okay, well that's cool. All right, back on track. So it selling token to Norgerber was a big point of discussion for our
Mhm.
group.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Katie.
I guess
think you've got something good to say.
my point to bringing that up was that we were able to do that and come to a consensus. Is that the word I want? Like, come to an understanding of, like, because I did not agree with it. Like, me as a person did not agree with it. I was so against it, and so we had to talk it out. And I think that's something that we do well as a group, to make the table safe. Like, it connects. That's my point in bringing that up.
Yeah, and I think that something in that discussion that is important that I've seen some people have a hard time with is that when they did discuss that, Tori said, "This is what Jack would do. This is what I want to do. What do you think about this?" And Tori was open to not doing that thing if it was going to cause too much inter-party conflict to the point where it was going to ruin the enjoyment, which I think is a very important lesson for everybody. You can be an asshole with your characters, but do so responsibly, and remember that it is at its basis a cooperative game. And if your character becomes too contentious, you do have the power to make different decisions with them, even if it's not what the character would do. Or you can find a compromise, or you can write the character out. You can do all kinds of different things, but cooperating is always more important than doing what the character would do if it's going to ruin the enjoyment of others.
I think anybody who has played tabletop RPGs for a long time has either heard the trope of or actually played with somebody who does the whole, well, that's what my character would do, as an excuse to just be an asshole. And I think it is, like you said, important to remember, I think for me, in a lot of ways, tabletop RPGs are an exercise in collaborative storytelling. You are telling a story with and to each other. And sometimes the characters in the story are going to make bad decisions, and sometimes they're going to hurt the other characters, or they're going to be an asshole. But I think understanding and separating, like, one, making sure that, like, you as a player are also being communicative and stating, like, this is what the character might do, being open to other options, and also just being able to kind of separate and remember, like, even if the characters aren't getting along, we can be adults and separate that a little bit. And, like, I think there's a balance between both those sides of it. I mean, for me, I guess to bring it to, like, this current game, for me, it was like we did the 2 sessions in the split groups, and then, like, right before we were getting together to finally actually bring the whole group together, and actually have everybody unite. I remember, Chase, you had kind of messaged and said something along the lines of, by the way, like, Jack and Crunk have just had some bad experiences and are likely not going to be cooperative. And so we, like, went into that session knowing that there was a high probability that our characters were going to be going to blows or being at each other's throats, and kind of prefacing that and preparing it and understanding ahead of time that was coming helped a lot. But it also was very interesting because that session where, like, the characters were fighting with each other and everybody is almost like, yeah, we should kill the cat. Like, we don't have a choice, right? Like, either give us the cards or die. That was also my first time interacting with Tori ever. So that was a fun time.
Hi, Izzy. Welcome to the group. I'ma kill you.
Yes. Thanks for playing with us. Die. But, like, we understood going in that this was the way the story would kind of play out, and I think it worked out really well for us. And it kind of also set a tone of, like, understanding our characters are going to clash with each other. I think there was a good chunk of the campaign where Jack didn't trust Rue and Nocturne, and maybe even up to the very end, Jack never really fully came to trust either of them, and that distrust caused friction. But we as people knew that difference, and I think that helped a lot.
Yeah. I think the root theme of all of this is that communication is just great. And having contentious topics, sensitive topics in your stories can be excellent. Most good stories have a good mix of those things in them. But you also got to remember that, like Izzy said, this is collaborative storytelling. And there's a very powerful tool that I think people forget sometimes, and it is the pause button. You can always pause the game, talk out of character, and you can discuss with each other, especially if it's a sensitive topic. I remember that's something I look back and I cringe at myself for when I was a brand new GM. Is I think back, I'm like, man, sometimes I used to go over, like, some sensitive topics and I just, like, wouldn't check in with people, and but it make people uncomfortable. And it's something that it's really good to learn, especially as a GM, when you're kind of setting the basis for the story, is make sure you recognize sensitive topics and make sure you communicate them. Even if you have to pause the game to do so, it's going to make for a better story.
Yeah, I mean, and I had in a campaign that I was running at one point, like, I retconned almost an entire session, because it's like we went through, we did the session, and then we got done afterwards, and everyone was like, yeah, I don't really like what that did, what that means for the characters, what that means for the story going forward. And we're like, let's just scrap it. And so then we came back the next session and we redid that whole sequence in a different way. And, because at the end of the day, yeah, it's a game. And like Samuel said in the chat, it's a game. Like, everybody at the table should be having fun. And if anybody's not having fun, then a discussion needs to happen. And that's what happened there with this example that I was giving. It's like, I, as the game master, was kind of like worried about what this would mean, and I could tell at the end of the session that several of my players just were not having fun by the end. And it's like, you know what? I think everybody enjoying it is more important than the integrity of the game, whether that is, oh, it's what my character would do, or whether it is, well, that's what the dice said and that's how things played out, or that's what we did and so we had to keep it. Like, making sure that everybody's having a good time is more important than anything else, in my opinion. Like, that is the number one thing that a game master and a player should be keeping in mind.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely.
I think
did
that-
you have
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
M is making her saying something face.
I know. So that's hilarious. I think that part of a tool that I've added to my toolkit in the last maybe year and a half is shutting up more often. I think that I, as a person, like to just like jump in and I get excited and I like to talk and be excited and like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna do this, and sitting back and enjoying the moments that my friends have in their scenes and in their stories, and just like watching them progress what's going on. And if I don't like understand or see how it's going to go, waiting to the end of the session and then being like open-minded and be like, hey, what are you thinking? Like, what was your plan? Where are you going with this? And then genuinely getting excited with the other player and thinking about ways as a character that I can support their goals and their joy. Uplifting the other people at the table has become a very special thing for me, and it's something that I'm still working on, is to step back and uplift. I don't know, there's probably a term for it in the RPG space. But yeah, I think that's something that I've could share.
Yeah, I love that. TTRPGs are full of cutscenes where you're not interacting with the game. Don't skip the cutscenes.
Thanks, Chase. We'll put
That's
that
actually
on a sticker.
Chase's
Loading screen
Chase's,
tip.
Chase's whole philosophy: don't skip the cutscenes.
Yeah, that feels like a tooltip in the loading screen.
Yeah.
We'll just put that on the next live stream. We'll have a series of
Chase's
little,
tool tips.
little clippy tips. Yeah. Hey, don't skip the cutscenes.
Chat mentioned Lines and Veils.
Yes.
And I think that those are pretty well known these days. But yeah, Lines and Veils, if you haven't heard of them, they're great to make sure that things stay to where you don't need to have hard talks. They just they make it clear on where you should stay, what territory you should stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this is going to be a combo question. Because I realized that at the beginning we were talking about our favorite moments, but we never did say what we'll miss about playing our characters. So I'm wrapping that question up into this one. And the other question being kind of maybe as like a little bit of a farewell to your character. What would you say to your character as like sort of the everything fades, the screen fades to black at the very, very end now of the campaign? M, don't cry.
I'm not going to.
Willem, you got stuck in a soul cage, you fucking noob.
It's very sentimental, Chase. And don't skip the cutscenes also.
To Crunk, I would probably say you have worth more than your combat abilities, more than protecting people, more than taking down powerful enemies. Just like being there and listening and talking has value. And you should embrace that more.
That's nice. What will you miss the most about playing Crunk? All the nat 20s?
All the nat 20s. Lady Luck. Oh, so nice. I don't know if this really lends into the sweet moment, but Krunk is one of my least favorite characters I've ever played.
Wow.
Oh,
I did it for 2.5 years, and I love Krunk, and I had so much fun and just but boy, he did not inspire me.
Wow. Well, you
Yeah.
pulled it off.
Thank you.
I would have never
Acting.
suspected. I guess so.
Acting.
Lady Nocturne. What will you, I guess, Izzy, what
man.
will you miss about playing Lady Nocturne, and what final words do you have for
So I did not play Lady Nocturne for 2.5 years, so I'm a little bit shorter of a time playing the character, but um, I don't know. There's a certain amount of like I think there's a certain amount of like Lady Nocturne's ability to just speak so authoritatively and have the power to back it up that is very fun to me, that I lack that quality in myself sometimes, where it's like I don't know how, if I'm doing a good job describing it, but like it was very fun to kind of step into this character and play someone who was just so extremely confident in a way that like I don't know. I think a lot of times when faced with impediments, her reaction was not one of like concern, but just of annoyance. Like, how dare
get out of
you
my way?
get out of my way? I'm walking here. Um, and I don't know. I think the only piece of advice I could give to Lady Nocturne, just is to not lose sight of like the fact that that Willem's hubris is what led to his downfall. She's going to be living for a very, very long time, and as long as she doesn't make enemies, she'll be fine.
Ain't that the truth?
Don't make enemies. That's just good life advice for anybody. Don't make enemies.
Try killing a lich who has no enemies and only friends. Good luck.
Right? How's that look?
That's actually awesome.
Katie?
I would high five Rue and then
Crisp high five to Rue.
crisp high five. That's it.
It would do no damage to her.
It would do 0 damage. I may be on fire by the end. Miss playing? I don't know. I like not having inhibitions when playing either Gingham or Rue. That was one thing I carried for both of them. Is a little bit of a lack of inhibition. To Rue, have fun. That Jack kid over there, you're getting past his moody side. Keep that up. She did. And then to Gingham, probably something like keep looking after the souls.
I love that all you have to say to your characters is just like, keep doing your thing.
Yeah,
You're doing great.
doing the thing.
They are doing the thing. I like that. Gosh. For Jack, I think I will miss I was so emotionally invested in Jack's story. I think I'll just miss I think I feel a lot the way you feel when you finish like a favorite book series or like a favorite TV series. It's like there's not really one specific thing. I think I'll just miss Jack, period. And but I do feel like he got a good story. So it is with satisfaction that I walk away from this ultimately. I suppose maybe if there was anything I'll miss, it's perhaps just the number of tricks up my sleeve for combat. Like I've noted, like I felt like in probably at least half the combats, Jack was doing anything except perhaps what he should have been doing, which was just standing next to the enemy, stabbing them again and again. I was just always looking for the trick or the back door or the alternate approach to this puzzle.
Gotta be an easy button here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I just gotta find it. There usually wasn't, but it didn't stop me from looking. Anyway, so I will miss that attitude. And to Jack, I think I would say that you deserve to be happy and don't give up on that. I think that's what I would leave Jack with.
I can't believe you didn't say be besties with Crunk forever.
Well, no, I don't have to tell him that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I could tell him not to be besties with Crunk forever and it would still happen. He would.
Okay, good.
It's just a default
Pretty sure it
choice.
happened already.
Yeah, it's canon now. I think I'm pretty sure Jack died being besties with Crunk. So
God, I can't even think about that moment for the two of them.
Jack dying? I think it was probably really peaceful and happy.
Surely hope so. The wailing
An old
sobs
man.
of two mouths.
Oh no.
God.
It was sweet and great. Two mouths.
Oh goodness. And on that lovely note,
At that point,
think
all
we
Crunk's
say-
got left is Nocturne, just like, oh, now I gotta
Yeah.
go hang out with like the Lich Cat.
the skeletal cat.
Make sure she doesn't turn evil.
Yep. And they lived forever after. I won't say happily. They
Yeah,
just
and they lived.
and they
after.
lived.
Boy, did
Ever
they.
after. With that, I think we officially say goodbye to Stolen Fate, this show. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in for this all 3 seasons, or however much of the show you've tuned into, and for coming to this live stream. Before we wrap it up completely tonight, I did promise some discussion of our future plans. So yeah, we would love to give you guys a little preview of what is coming down the pipeline. Chase, I'll throw it over to you in a second. But first, in the most immediate future, Katie and I have played a game called Tangled Blessings, which is a solo journaling RPG or a duet RPG, which is how Katie and I played it. And so we have a little 3-part mini playthrough for you guys coming out soon. If not next week, then in the next couple of weeks. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but that'll be coming your way. Just as some fun kind of side content we decided to explore in between larger projects. And speaking of larger projects, Chase, what is the larger project we've got coming next?
Yeah, so we're gonna shift gears a little bit. We've done a big long form campaign. We've done lots of Pathfinder, and so what we're gonna shift into is we have figured that there is a lot of one shots on the internet, like 1 to 2 shots. People dabbling in games, they play them once. A lot of the times they get all the rules wrong, and they're just role playing in a specific setting. And then you've got the really long form content for the more popular meta games. So something that we're going to try out, see how it goes, is we are going to try to do some medium form content of different games. We're going to bite into them enough to make sure that we understand all of the rules and mechanics and actually get to see all of the rules and mechanics play out, including like character advancement and some of the things that you don't see in shorter form content. So yeah, we're thinking, somewhere upwards of like 9 episodes for a little mini series. The game we have coming up next is Legend in the Mist. So we're going to be playing that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's very fun. It's advertised as a rustic TTRPG, rustic fantasy. It's very simple, down to earth, and about the smaller things. It's a very narrative driven game that most of its mechanics come in the form of fleshing out character development, whether that be through success or failure. So I'm pretty excited to try out some of those things I was talking about, where I've learned about dealing with character failure. and seeing how it plays out as people develop their characters. And yeah, that's what we got coming up next. Did I miss anything, Tori?
No, I think that's it. That'll be coming out after our little three-part Tangled Blessing. So probably several weeks out from that, but keep your eyes out for it. And like Chase said, it'll be sort of a medium length campaign. We're hoping that'll give people an opportunity to like jump in and out of content a little more easily instead of being hit with, joining our show and being hit with a backlog of 75 episodes or whatever that you need to understand in order to join us for these kinds of fun live stream chats and stuff like that. Maybe with this slightly shorter approach, we can also just play more different games because our list is long of games that we're constantly just like, oh, we should try this game. Oh, we should play this game. Oh, we should do this one. And so we can start moving through more games that way.
Indeed. And if you guys want to make our list longer, definitely recommend if there's anything you guys really want to see. We can't promise we'll get to it, but we're always open to hearing suggestions. So
yes. And we have a few ideas already, even after Legend in the Mist. So, but we will tackle that when we get to that point. Anything else you want to add, Chase?
I don't think so. Thanks so much for watching our very long campaign, everybody. It was so fun to see everybody chatting in our Discord and see the theories and the emotions. I got playfully yelled at a couple times. It was great. Love seeing all of you guys watch along and play along with us. So looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie, Izzy, M, any final words for the chat here before we log off for the night?
Tune in for the adventures of Pizza Boy and Scene Girl.
Pizza Boy and Scene Girl. That is the pitch for Tangled Blessings.
So now you have to watch to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Izzy, we are so in sync so frequently.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like I said at the finale, when we recorded that. Thanks for having me. It's been fun. It's definitely been an interesting experience for me. First time I've ever done anything like this. And I guess what's next for me, if any of you happen to be fans of webcomics, that's where the space I'm usually found in. My partner and I are working on a webcomic that is loosely based off of a Fantasy Age 2nd Edition campaign that I've been running for almost 2 years now. We still don't have a release date, but we're working on it. We're making a lot of good progress. So yeah.
Fantastic. I'm excited to check it out. And we're going to miss you, Izzy. Thanks so much for playing with us.
Yeah. Thanks for
if I have anything to say about it, it's not going to be the last time you're on the channel. I'll see if we can convince you to come back for something at some point.
Maybe something shorter.
Yeah.
Shorter. And maybe not level 18.
Maybe not level 18 of a new system I've never played. Yeah.
Level 32 Super Mythics.
Okay,
Pathfinder
yes,
6th edition.
Now we're talking.
Why?
No, it was a delight playing with you, Izzy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Any final shouts?
I am excited for the many adventures this year, and I can't wait to go on them with y'all.
Well, for cute, what a way to end it. Good job, Em. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for your questions, your comments. Feel free to, if you think of anything else you want to share or any other questions you want to ask, we're always in Discord for you. So come hang out with us there. And we will be back soon with some more content for you of a different variety. Until then, take a long rest, drink plenty of water, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.